Welcome back to the Stash. The Batman Arkham series is known by all as one of the greatest gaming trilogies ever made. With awards after awards, the likes of Batman Arkham Asylum and City are considered the best Batman games ever made, leaving all of the previous attempts deep within the shadows. Today we're going over the original best Batman game all the way back in 2001 called Batman Vengeance. Batman Vengeance is an adaptation of the beloved Batman the Animated Series, however more closely linked to the last season with the same character designs and characterizations. The general plot of this game is that after the Joker falls to his apparent death in an attempt to kill Batman, Gotham's criminals scramble to take his place as the most powerful person in Gotham City's underworld. Batman discovers links in these seemingly unrelated crimes, but is forced undercover after being framed for an attack on Commissioner Gordon. Hunted by the police, Batman needs to discover who is behind these mysteries before Gotham City's destroyed. Batman then discovers that the Joker is in fact not dead, and is behind the entire crime wave, which then leads to a final battle with the Clown Prince of Crime, ultimately ending with his return back to Arkham Asylum. Overall, this story is pretty standard stuff. It does enough things right so it doesn't feel boring, and it gets extra points as well as it captures the animated series perfectly, with it feeling like a direct continuation from the show. The missions in this game are a mixed bag. It has a lot of good things but also a lot of annoyances. A lot of the buildings' interior were super bland and boring, with grey nearly always being the primary colour. A lot of the missions seem to really drag on as well. Giving you so many tasks to do while throwing a bunch of thugs to beat up does not equal fun. I found this most relevant to the Joker gas house level. We have to find the first 3 control valves and twist them, all while fighting henchmen. Then, you have to push down another 3 levers, as well as trying to dodge heaps of bullets to finally control another 3 valves to finally shut off the water supply. Now if that sounded clunky, it was because it was a clunky mess to play. The checkpoint system is really poor too. You can set off a cutscene and sometimes it doesn't even count as a checkpoint. Continuing the theme of trashing the Joker gas house level, if you completed the first 2 tasks of switching off the levers and control valves, it means nothing, because if you die, you go all the way back to the start. I also found a couple missions really unclear. You can easily get lost in huge rooms because not only does the doors blend in with the wall, but the game offers you no sort of hints or a form of a guide. Come on guys, the Spider-Man game from the year before got this part nailed down. And speaking of the 2000 Spider-Man game, one of the levels is almost ripped straight from it. The mission SWAT chase shows Batman being framed and wanted by the police. As you take control, you have to jump from rooftop to rooftop dodging police officers, as well as a giant helicopter spamming bullets and missiles at you. Although very uncreative, it's still a fun mission and utilizes the grappling and gliding mechanics really well and in a satisfying way. However, none compete with the mission Rooftop Battle. This is probably my favorite mission of the whole game. I love exploring Gotham City with the foggy blood sky always looking down upon us. It's where the traversal controls really shine and was a blast to play. I'm also a huge fan of when you take up the identity of Matches Malone. It's sad how forgotten that identity is for Bruce, however it just adds to this level's uniqueness. I love how it shows Batman being tactical and resourceful, making him use anything he can consider as an advantage. The last mission of the game was a little anticlimactic to say the least. You spend the first third trying to disable laser beams, which in itself was a complete pain in the bat hide. After that, it's really a basic fight with the Joker, which ends up with you knocking him out. However, for whatever stupid reason, Batman doesn't even handcuff him. That's the thing you've had to do to every single thug in the game, or else they'll keep getting up. Instead, he just leaves him there. Batman of all people should know you can't leave Joker in a room by himself. You then go and do this coloring activity which stops Joker's plan and saves Gotham. Mr. J then jumps out of the blimp because he just watched Birds of Prey and we have to go and save him. The skydiving sequence is one of the worst things in this game. Before it was fine because you only had to focus on your timing of catching the person. However here, he shoots these big balloons which explode, as well as these tiny little pebbles which not only blend into the sky so you can barely see them, but have a huge explosion radius. Then when you finally get close to him, he whips out a Tommy gun from his ass and starts shooting at you. I mean, whoever designed this sure must be a fun guy. Luckily, the ending cutscene was super fun. It shows all the villains in Arkham doing their thing, ending with Joker's cell as we see his obsession for Batman grow. As the camera slowly pans to his Batman plushie in a noose. The scene cuts to our Dark Knight watching over Gotham as the bat signal goes up in the sky, calling for him once more. Moving on to the gameplay now, and I hate to say it, but it didn't age that well at all. I find the gadgets a fun aspect of the gameplay, especially once you really get the hang of it. And I really enjoyed the first person view, especially when you're trying to grapple hook. It really felt like you were Batman in that scenario. I know it would be super difficult, but I wish more superhero games had a POV mode. This game's gliding mechanic is really fun, but it also looks really cool. Use it for a lot of parkour and it worked best in open spaces where it felt super satisfying. I must say though that the traversal features were quite the opposite in tight enclosed areas. Trying to navigate is so difficult and mostly because of the camera. You have no control over the camera unless you're in the first person view, which makes it super clunky when trying to look around as you have to constantly switch between the two camera angles. There was this really annoying thing where if you try to use gadgets on thugs, you had to be a certain distance, or else the camera will always go into this locked in fighting view and take you out of gadget mode. The indoor parkour sections definitely needed much more work, as almost all of them felt lazy and sloppy. Not to mention the part of the game where Batman didn't even register that he landed on the platform, so he kept jumping into the pit of death. Hand-to-hand combat was pretty underwhelming as well. Nearly every thug is equal to Batman's skill and strength, which not only makes it extremely unfun for the player, but it also makes zero sense. Batman shouldn't struggle against random Joker goons, and don't even get me started on the ones who wore the black outfit. They were even tougher than the other ones. By the end of it, I was just so sick and tired of the thugs non-stop blocking and counterattacks. You can do some pretty cool combos, however, it never really mattered because the thug blocks nearly all of the hits. In fact, near the end I'd just stick to kicking. It felt like the only attack that actually worked. You can block, however you can't really move while doing it and it's not that useful. But if you do it when no one's around, he does this cool cape cover stance, so that's something, I guess. One mechanic I think that is just plain dumb is the handcuff feature. You must handcuff every single goon or else they'll get right back up and fight you again. It makes zero sense and it feels like an unnecessary addition. This honestly will sound sort of sad, but if you want to have a way better experience, give in and do the cheat codes.
And modern problems require modern solutions.
I'm telling you, it makes the game so much more fun, especially because you can run out of gadgets and even the handcuffs. Whoever thought making it so you can run out of the one thing that actually keeps thugs from getting back up was a good idea? Well, they need their head examined. It can work sometimes with stuff like batarangs, as it makes you really think out your plan of attack. However, it just becomes more of an annoyance after a while. There's a few vehicle missions within this game. The Batwing one is completely unbearable and I prefer not to speak on it as I'll get flashbacks to that horrible night. The Batmobile was the best one out of the vehicle stuff. Your bullets never really felt like they actually hit their target, yet somehow they do. I think that the gameplay has just unfortunately aged very poorly in some aspects, however it still has its good parts like outdoor traversal and combat with cheats on. Unfortunately the boss fights too weren't that thrilling. The most of them playing out as a normal thug fight with minor differences. I found most actually boring and really unclear. It's not too hard to guess what you're supposed to do, but there were definitely some cases where you had no idea. Poison Ivy technically had two boss fights, however you fight her plants. The first one's against this really big plant thug, and it's simple enough, yet still very engaging. The other one was one of the standouts. You fight this giant eye and have to make it fall into the tub of chemicals. I like that that boss fight had a bit of strategy involved with it. I did notice, however, that every boss fight was really repetitive. Once you figured out what to do, you just had to repeat it over and over again. The Joker Wrecking Ball fight was a great part of the game. It was definitely challenging with some great dialogue from Mr. J himself. My favorite boss fight would have to be Mr. Freeze. But seriously, what's with Freeze and good boss fights? Basically, he's so strong that you can't even take him on head first. You have to use the environment to take him down. I loved how engaging and strategic that boss fight was. It made you really feel like you were Batman using your own smarts to outwit someone. The music in this game isn't identical to the show, however it manages to sound like it would be a part of it. In fact, the score is probably one of the best parts I find of this game's presentation. The graphics still hold up for today's standard as well, and it went for that animated series look and stayed true, which makes sense after all. Every single character looked really good, and a few of the standouts were probably Harley, Batgirl, Joker, and Batman. Batman's cape is also amazing in this game. It feels like it's alive and always reacts to your movements. This game's FMVs are some of my favorite from any games. They're so well made and look so good. And like I've said 1,000 times already in this video, it perfectly captures the animated series. The casting is one of the best parts of this game. Featuring all the cast members from the show, it manages to deliver an authentic experience. With each actor delivering a satisfying performance, Mark Hamill shines once again as the clown prince of crime, and the great Kevin Conroy once again displays why he's the true Batman. It's no secret that this game has aged poorly in most aspects, however when it was first released, this was considered by many the best Batman game ever made, all the way up until the first Arkham game. Overall, I'd say the graphics, FMVs, cast, story, and music scores helped this game achieve a successful adaptation of the best Batman show ever made, and is a must-have for any fan of the animated series. But that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. As you can see on our channel, we've hit 300 subscribers, and I want to say a massive thank you to all of you for supporting this channel. It fully hasn't registered in my mind that we actually hit that milestone, but again, I just can't thank you guys enough. Like, that's incredible. This video is sort of the 300 subscriber special, so I hope that you guys actually enjoyed the video. I hope it was good enough for for such a big occasion. I can understand that it sort of sounded like I didn't really like the game, and it's like I didn't really enjoy a lot of the parts of the game, but the defense I even made for it was that it just simply aged poorly, and at one time this was the best Batman game. However, with cheats, oh my god, such a better experience. You get like unlimited gadgets, so you don't have to worry about it, and you can do double damage with your normal punch and kick, which actually makes you feel like you're strong and Batman. But I'm gonna stop rambling. Thank you again for 300 subscribers and for watching this video, and see you in the next one.